Yo, what's up, guys? So today, I have a 2014, or the Nationals 2014 Mermail deck that I constructed. I played in a tournament today on my Discord. I went 3-0, so undefeated with this Mermail list. I played against Lightsworns, Yugiohs, and Constellars. So those are the three decks. But I figured I'd show off the deck that I played. One of my favorite decks from the 2014 Nationals format, which is Mermails. If you guys are interested in playing tournaments and playing 2014 remote duels or 2011 remote duels, definitely go and join my Discord at discord.gg/packtcg. And yeah, we'll get right into the video. So for the main monsters, I play probably the best normal summon in the deck, which is Genix Undyne. I play 3 because I really want to see it, and I play 2 controller, just because I want to be able to use its effect more than once. The first time to get access to Dragoons, and then the second time to get access to title. So having a second control into the deck is fine. Also, I play Allure of Darkness so that it allows me to get a Pot of Greed. So having this is fine. Also, having Genix controller in your deck also means you get access to synchro plays, making either Black Rose with a 4 and a 3, which you have easily access to with Mermail Abyss Pike. You can also use this overlay into Undyne, send a card, and then add controller. Next turn you can normal summon controller, attack, make for example the what is it called, the rank 3 that pops back, or alley card as well. So there's really this engine is really strong for the archetype, and because it sends water monsters for cost, it's really hard to respond to Undyne unless you have cards like Solemn Morning. So it's really strong. Next, for the other normal summon in the deck, that's probably, I think, the second best, which is Abyss Pike and the Abyss Turge. So you play this because Abyss Pike makes it so you have more access to Undyne, but also the Abyss Pike searches you more marksmans, which allows you to play through back row really well. It can also search you a gun. It's a very versatile card in terms of what it searches you, and it triggers your water monsters. So it's very strong normal summon. And then Turge lets you recycle your basically your water monsters in your graveyard. But also, I play the one Turge because of the combo where, if you have, for example, a Abyss Pike in the graveyard, and you have, let's say you have Gundy, Turge in the hand, you have Pike in the grave, and then you have, also Marksman in the grave. You can do a really cool play where you can go, very low commitment, normal summon Turge, pitch Gun, add back Marksman, then use Gun effect, bring back the Pike, then use Pike effect to pitch the Marksman, pop a back row, and then this will get you another level 3, a second Marksman maybe. And then you can overlay these two into Dweller, Excited Knight. You can make Bahamut Shark. The plays are very limitless. Be able to, pop a back row, make rank 4 plays, and then apply a lot of pressure. So I play the one Turge for that as well. So there's that. For the remaining Mermail monsters, I play 2 Lind. So she's a really strong one that can float. When you play her with Abyss Spheres, I think 2 is all you really need usually. The multiple Abyss Spheres, you don't have to necessarily go for the Abyss Sphere into Lin to float. There's other plays where you can use Abyss Sphere to summon other levels so that you can do it on your own turn, because you don't play a lot of spells, so it's fine. But I think 2 is a good amount of number. Usually I never like setting it blind turn 1, game 1, because most people play around it and not attack it because they might think it's a hand or something like that. So I just I still like her though, just because in grind games, she can do something really cool where if you normal summon her and attack and crash into something and kill itself, you can for example use the effect in damage step to summon cards like Abyss Pike, and then use Abyss Pike, pitch Marksman, all in damage step to play around Torrential Tribute, and beat their back row. So I still really like Lind. It's one of the backup normal summons into boards, so do damage step shenanigans, to play through your opponent's board. So I really like it. For other Mermail monsters, we play 3 Abyss Teus. I don't think this card needs an introduction. It triggers your water monsters. It's a level 7, which gives you access to really strong rank 7 plays, and it searches you a level 4 or lower Mermail monster, so it can search you basically Pike, Turge. It can also search you Lind. It can search you Gun as well, which is a 1 of in this format. So a really strong card. Not much to really say about it. Then I play 2 Megalo as the other 2 Mermail monsters for level 7s. Other people chose to play Abyss Lead instead of 2 Megalos. But I like Megalos because I like discarding water monsters, and I like playing 2 Megalo because it gives me access to like Abyssfer more consistently, and I think Abyssfer is one of the best starters for the deck. Also, like this card helps you like OTK your opponent really easily because it can tribute another water monster and then attack twice. What's cool about that is that like if you like normal summon a marksman with a Megalo summoned from the turn prior with like Lind, you can like use Megalo to tribute like marksman to attack twice, and then use marksman to pop a back row as well to help ensure you deal like 4,800, which is a lot of damage. So there's Megalo, and then the last Mermail monster I play is One Abyss Gun. It's at 1 this format. You know, I think prior to the April 2014 format, it was at 3, but yeah, it's at 1 this format. The April ban list hit this card because it was so strong. I believe like Sahabi played Mermails as well. I think Pat Hoban played this deck as well with like triple gun and playing cards like Wing Blasts and stuff with like Reckless Greed to get access to your combo pieces really fast and just apply a lot of pressure. But unfortunately in this format it's at 1. Next for the Atlanteans, I play 1 Dragoons because Dragoon is at 1, but it's really, really insane. It's a card you send off Undying to get access to like Marksman. It can search through Megalo, which is a Sea Serpent. It can also search through Moonling Glacia, really strong card, but it can also search through the rest of the Atlanteans, which are like 3 Marksmen and then the 2 Infantry. So I play 3-2. I think people in this format used to play 2 and 1, or some people play 3 and 1, but I like to play 3 and 2 because I like having more discards. Especially because I play like Undines and Pikes and Turge and Lin, which can float into any of these Mermail, like Pikes or Turge, and like 3 Teus, and then I play double Megalo instead of the lead. I just wanted a lot of cards, a lot of water monsters that were good when they were discarded. So like these were like the best, like, you know, I just like wanted to play more of them because it also lets you grind. Playing 1 infantry is really awkward because if you use it once, it becomes really, really awkward to get access to the second one to like out your opponent's, like, let's say a skill drain or like a floodgate, which, like, you know, the Mythic Ruler deck was like playing. So I like having 2 just for the versatility, and then this card just gets you out of a pinch when you're like facing down like a boss monster that's really, really annoying. So I think 2 of this was like fine and like really, really strong still. So those are all the Atlanteans, 6 in total. And then I played 1 title because it's at 1 Dragon Ruler monster that can easily search off of Undyne. So this deck, Mermails having access to Dragon Rules is really strong. A recursive level 7, allowing to go easy access to level 7 plays, and then a level 7 with like controller allows you to go Leo. Just makes it so that this Mermail deck was very, very recursive, being able to play aggro and push for a lot of damage with like Megalos and like OTK pushes, or sometimes just playing like control and then like summoning title back and forth every turn and going really plus on that. Also allowing you to manipulate your graveyard so that you can summon Moonling Glacia. Made title like such an insane card, and of course like it can feel your graveyard really well for soul charges as well, because you can use title's effect in the hand to like send, let's say, like a Dragoon or something, and then send a Pike and then soul charge to make like Dweller, and then, you know, detach Dragoon and like get multiple Dragoon searches basically. So title was like really, really strong. And then some people chose not to play Moonland, some people did. I like Moonling Glacia mainly because like it was one of the best ways to play around your opponent's soul charges. You can't really play around on soul charge, but Moonling Glacia was one of those cards that allowed you to like rip soul charges out of your opponent's hand, which gave you a chance essentially at like making sure that they don't reverse crack your board. It's also 2800, which is really hard to out during this time. So I really, really like this card, and I think it's still like a really, really strong card. I sat it out sometimes against like Lysoans, for example, because every time you hand rip them, you usually help them out, like dumping Necrogarnas and like dumping Wyverns out of their hand, or like dumping Wolves out of their hand and all that good stuff, and making their graveyard better. But like until like most of the other decks, especially like the trap decks, ripping 2 cards out of their hand, most of the time they hold soul charges in their hand. So like this card was just like so insane. Really liked it. That's it for the main monsters. For the spells, we played 3 Upstart, just because, you know, seeing access to your soul charges is just better. Seeing access to your better cards earlier, it's just better. So I just played 3 Upstarts, of course. And then I played the other 3 best spell card in the game at this moment in time was 3 Soul Charges. There's not much to say. This is one of those decks that can really utilize Soul Charges really well. So you just max out on the Soul Charge copies. You know, Undyne, be able to fill your graveyard. You have like Pike, Turge, Lind, Abyss Spheres, like making your graveyard so much better with Soul Charges. Allowing you to go for like rank 4 plays, rank 7 plays, and make a lot of really good pushes. Soul Charge was like an insane card, especially for like this deck. And then the last two spells I played were Allure of Darkness and then the Dark Hole. So Allure of Darkness was mainly for the Undyne package, being able to give you a Pot of Greed with a controller. And then like Dark Hole was just so that it was one of the best equalizers into like combo mirrors. So like into like the Sylvan deck, or into like like let's say Yugioh, especially if they establish like a board with that Yugioh X and like going Accelerator and like getting back armor and going super plus. Dark Hole was one of the best cards that helped equalize the playing field to give you a chance at coming back. So I really like this card, just being a nice equalizer. And that's it for the spells, just 8 in total. That's it. And then for the traps, I actually play more traps than the average Mermail player during this time. But I like Triple Abyss Sphere. I think this is one of the best cards in the deck. So I really want to see, and that's why I also opted to play 2 Meglos instead of 1 Megalo, and then opting not to play Abyss Lead. Even though Abyss Lead has like some cool combos with like, Soul Charges, bring back cards, and Abyss Lead ripping a card off your opponent's hand. But I just think Abyss Sphere is so insane. It's a starter for you in terms of getting access to Lin, which gets you any Mermail monster in your deck. It can also help you make OTK pushes by using it in battle phase to attack for game and deal the last points of damage. You can also use it on your turn to like summon a 4, a 3, or a 7 in order to make synchro XYZ plays. I remember like I was able to Abyss Lead into a Excited Knight, which is basically Zeus of the format, and like helped me solidify the game even though I was behind. So this card was like really insane. So there's the Abyss Spheres, and then you have 2 breakthrough skills. I like this card a lot because a lot of people usually make Dweller against this deck. They like try to, turbo like rank 4s and make cards like Dweller. Breakthrough skill is one of the best cards to answer that because you would negate a card on their turn, and then you would use the breakthrough skill on your own turn to basically nullify their Dweller. So breakthrough skill, if you use it once, ultimately made it so that their Dweller for the rest of the game are essentially like dead. So that's why I really like this card. Also like really, really strong into like, for example, Felgrand. Which like decks like the Mythic Ruler deck made, like the deck that Sylvans would make Felgrand, but essentially would make the Felgrand useless on your opponent's turn as well as on my own turn. So being able to get 2 uses out of this was really strong. Also, like another common card there in this format was Curry Bandit, and one of the few cards that can stop Curry Bandit alongside Veiler was like Breakthrough Skill, and Curry Bandit was such a huge tempo swing, being able to mill you 5 cards and essentially search Soul Charge because of like the adding back the spell and trap at end phase. But yeah, I decided to play 2 Breakthrough Skills as a really strong defensive card, and I like having defensive cards, especially in slow formats like this, where like sometimes you literally go like Lin Pass or like Pike Pass. So these two cards are just like so good. And then the last 2 traps I play is 1 Bottomless and 1 Torrential Tribute. I like Torrential Tribute because of its synergy with like Abyss Lind. So like you don't really go minus. You can also like, for example, pop like pop like Abyss Trite with Torrential and like get effects. So I really like Torrential Tribute because it helps equalizes and punishes like Soul Charges really well. Same thing with Bottomless. Bottomless won me like against Lightsworns when my opponent Soul Charged for 4 into a Bottomless and got his entire graveyard banished. Shout out to my boy Brian. But Bottomless and Torrential were just like really good like backup plans, like more defensive cards alongside Breakthrough. That just meant that like if your opponent went for like heavy pushes, they never really expect a lot of traps in the Mermail deck, so these cards just like punish them for like committing to plays they shouldn't have. So I really like these cards. So 7 trap cards, 8 spell cards, and the rest are all monsters. But that's pretty much it for the main deck. 40 cards, 37 some would say with the upstarts. But for the extra deck, we played 1 Abyss Gaios, one of the rank 7s you can make. A really strong card, especially into like the Sylvan deck, because I think Hermitry is 27 and Segoya is 26. So this card was like a really strong card at like stopping their plays. It's generally like also really good into other matchups as well because it was basically like a blanket imperm on your opponent's turn. And it also made it so that level 5 and higher monsters can attack while I control materials. So that effect was really, really nice as well because you can like have a big Abyss Gaios and then have other XYZs or like cards like Pike and then Turd just like pushing damage. So this card was just like really, really nice. Also, it goes up to 3,300 with Dweller, which means that you skill drain literally anything because there's like not really a lot of cards that are bigger than 3,300 in this format. So having a 3,300 Abyss Gaios with Dweller made it so that you literally can negate anything with Gyos. Because the thing is, if they make Felgrand, Abyss Gyos cannot negate Felgrand because Felgrand's the same attack as Abyss Gyos. That's why like it comes up. But when you make with Dweller, it just like negates everything basically. And then you have Dracosack, one of the most iconic cards of the 2013, 2014 era, and to continue. But one of the best rank 7s, being able to like play under skill drain by tributing itself and then popping back row. It by making 2 tokens and being unable to destroy by card effects made it so that it was a very good card to make into the trap decks. So it's very, very strong card. It's very sticky. It's really hard to out sometimes for like a lot of the trap decks. So it's just a really, really good card. Played Big Eye. Big Eye was really nice. And you see it right here that the Mermail deck was very versatile. It had like all these rank 7 access. And Big Eye, having access to Big Eye meant that you can Big Eye your opponent's Big Eye and then use their Big Eye to take another card. And Big Eye also like just allowed you to like take their 7s and make 7 plays with. You can take their monsters and then synchro it off with like Gen X controller as well. So Big Eye is a very versatile card as well in this format, just because like the ability to like Snatch Steal is pretty good. For the synchros, because we play controller, I play 1 Black Rose because basically it made my opponent respect L4 and a controller. And Black Rose into trap decks were just like so powerful. So I really like this card. Gungnir, because it can discard water monsters for cost to pop back row and then trigger those water monsters. It's also like 2500, which is pretty big. And then we have Leo, which is usually any 7 in the controller. It's really, really hard to out, being 3100 and cannot be targeted by opponent's card effect except during my main phase 2. So sometimes you can like literally don't go to battle phase and then skip your main and skip your battle, which allows you to like skip main phase 2. So this card like becomes really, really hard to out, especially because it can't be targeted. But it was still outable. But it's just like sometimes it's really, really annoying for your opponent. Then it's for the rank 4s. You play Dweller, right? Synergy with the deck being that if it has water materials underneath, it gives all water monsters 500 attack. So it becomes 2200 more often than not. Onarch, a really good card to like suck your opponent's dragon rulers, because putting it underneath your Onarch made it so that they can't recur their dragon ruler on their turn. So Onarch was really, really nice, and it also helped you outed like some really annoying cards. Sometimes your opponent has like a Dracosack and they put it in attack mode, which can't normally be out like with destruction or battle, but like Onarch being able to like just take it, like it's really, really nice. So Onarch also like triggers Dragoon alongside Dweller being a water monster, which is really important. It's one of the rank 4 water monsters that triggered Dragoon alongside I think Bahamut Shark. So these cards were cards that triggered Dragoon as well, which is really important, being able to get Dragoon access. And then Bahamut Shark, because we only play 1 rank 3 or lower water monster at this time, but it was Mermail Abyss Trite. So sometimes you would make it with 3 level 3s, but most of the time you cheat it off with Bahamut Shark. But what Trite does is that whenever this card is destroyed by card effect or by battle, it can bring back any Mermail monster from the graveyard, which is really, really nice. It's also 2800 defense, which is really hard to out during this time. So it allows you to like basically go into Bahamut Shark, Abyss Trite, made it so that you have a really good, you had a board that was like really annoying to out, because you had to like basically have 2 outs, first clearing this board and then clearing the monster that was summoned off of Abyss Trite. So this was like a really safe board when you were trying to play around Dark Hole, because your opponent Dark Holes your Abyss Trite, you get to trigger the effect and bring back. So it was a way for you to make the Dark Hole like a little bit not as bad, even though Dark Hole would still obviously suck when you get Dark Hole, but like it made it so that it was less sad essentially. The other 4s, since we'll continue with those, is Excited Knight. This was the Zeus of the format. If you play modern Yu-Gi-Oh, you know Excited Knight is just so crazy. I think I made this card like 3 or 2 times during the tournament, and every time I did, resolving it was just like so broken. I think I excited for like 6 or 7. I mean, this card just like wipes the whole board. It's just like a really strong equalizer. I play Lavolval Chain because it helps you get access to title. So Lavolval Chain's there for that. Daigusa Emerald, because manipulating your graveyard, shuffling back your resources so you can trigger Dragoon more times. Also manipulating your graveyard so that Moonling Glacier is live is really, really nice, which I definitely did do. I used Daigusa Emerald to manipulate my graveyard, put back cards, and hand loop my opponent for 2. and then draw a card too, right? So it's insane. And then the last two card in the extra deck is one Levier and then one Alucard. Alucard is because of like I said, if you normal summon Undyne, you search a controller, and then on the next turn you can just summon the controller. Worst case, overlay both of them and make Alucard pop a back row and like dish damage out. You can also choose to play Anganier. I like prefer Levier. I feel like this card is way stronger. But Anganier is also a really strong card. Levier I like because basically your title puts banished monsters, put cards in the banish pile for you. So being able to like banish your Dragoons with title and then bring it back and then overlay for another 4 made Levier really strong, and I like Levier a lot just for that reason. So maybe there's an argument to maybe play Anganier as well, and like cut either like Laval Chain or something along those lines. But so far these rank 3s were fine for me. So that's pretty much covers like the entire extra deck. And then of course for the side deck can definitely use a little bit of work, but this is what I had. I started off with, of course, 3 Maxi. I sided Maxi. I didn't like mainly Maxi in 2014 format as I was playing it, mainly because there's so many trap decks. If I was going to a YCS or Nationals during like the 2014, April format, I just wouldn't main Maxi just because like so many people opted to play trap decks in the form of Yugioh's Hat. They would play like like just all these decks that just were like very control, and like just played a bunch of trap cards. Like if you like, some people even might consider like the Kokimiru deck playing a bunch of trap cards as well. Like where Maxi, like yeah, it can be basically an upstart into those matchups, so it's fine in main deck. But I just prefer to like side these in mainly for like the Lightsworn decks, the Sylvan decks, like sometimes in the mirror match, right? And that brings me to my next card, which is DD Crow. I like DD Crow more than Effect Veiler actually during this time, because especially in the mirror, DD Crow is like answers like sending goons for costs off like Undyne, or sending and like it messes up their water count in the graveyard. Also, DD Crow answers like the Sylvan deck really well because they have cards like Miracle Fertilizer, which can like DD Crow can help answer that. DD Crow also like is really nice into the Mythic Ruler deck because it takes the Dragon Ruler out of their graveyard, which also makes it so that they can't soul charge it cards back later. I just really like DD Crow. I play as a 2 of, but it was a really, really strong card paired with Maxi to like give you draws, and then the draws you like can draw into this, and that actually helped me win like the Lightsworn matchup in my round 3 match, where I Maxied and I drew into DD Crow, and I DD Crow'd his one of the Lightsworn monsters so that he would only have 3, so he couldn't summon JD. So those are the only 5 hand traps I side into, and the rest of the side deck looked like it should be 3 MSTs. I was too lazy to grab one. I didn't like run in time to get it, but I think it should be triple MST for sure. But it's two MSTs. Just a very good card. Even into like the Sylvan deck, like the more and more combo deck, MST was really nice to answer like fertilizers in the mirror match. It also answered like the Abyss Spheres. So like MST was just a very versatile, very strong card. But the reason why it's not in my main deck is because Marksman is basically MST. In a way, like it's pseudo MST. So like against most of the trap decks, like you had a really good matchup just because like against Yugioh's, like Marksman just pops like the set armor. So like more often than not, like you didn't really need MSTs, but like you can side into them if you really wanted to. And then I played 2 Lancia because everyone's playing like trap cards. So like you're getting either Bottomless, you're gonna get like Traptrick Hole Nightmare, like you're gonna get like Torrential. Like there's so many trap cards that like you can get hit by. Lancia was just like nice into that. So I figured I'd like give it a shot, and worst case use it during damage step. Some of the trap cards I sat into were 3 Malcats or Malevolent Catastrophe. This card honestly I think was okay. I definitely think that like MSC would be better, but the idea is that if your opponent declares an attack, you can activate this into Heavy Storms. So the issue is I don't think this card is that good because against Yugioh's they make something called like Silver Mountain. The Silver Mountain can lock a back row, and then like they can just attack, making your Malcat like pretty much dead. Like if they know what they were doing, they would play around the Malcat, and then like just like wait until they had access to like Silver Mountain to like lock the back row. So like I don't know, like, and against like you know, trap tricks, right? Like Hat, like Mermelio, they can just wait, play slow, and wait for Mermelio to pop like the catastrophe before declaring an attack. Because they can just like play relatively like slower and stuff. Because once you get into grind games, that's when like those decks like really shine. So I don't know. This card in theory was like would be really nice. It would catch people off guard because people might forget about it. But I think in hindsight, like it was like okay. It wasn't like that crazy. And then the last 3 trap cards I played was 2 Black Horn of Heaven and then Solemn Warning. I thought Black Horn of Heaven would be really nice into like the Sylvan deck, and then Warning was just like overall generically good into like any combo deck. So I just thought like I wanted to play some of these cards just because I thought they would be nice. It's even like decent into like combo decks too, or like or trap decks. So like Black Horning and Gear King NX is so powerful. And then I like Warning because everyone played Upstart F3 this format. Most even trap decks played Upstart F3. I think Core McDuffie, who won Nationals in 2014, rest in peace. Like he played triple Upstart in his Hat deck as well, and like that basically means that you like gain a lot of free life points, allowing you to use a free Warning, which was at 1 in the format. But using a Warning to answer your opponent's soul charge is like really strong. So yeah, I just figured I sided in pretty much, give it a shot. But side I can definitely use some work on, but this is what I like decided to play for like at least this tournament. But yeah. But anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the profile. Let me know if you also enjoy 2014 format. Was this nostalgic for you? Have you played in this format before? And what are your thoughts on it? I really enjoy playing old formats. I think there's a lot of value you can get out of it. Reading your back row, like, and the slower games, just I find that really enjoyable. Even though I started in 2019, I find these formats really, really enjoyable. So I would highly encourage you guys to give this a shot and definitely join my Discord. And you know, and I'll be sure to like, you know, help you, or like I'm sure other mods and people in the community will also help you if you're trying to learn about this format as well. But anyways, guys, thank you again for watching the video, and comment, like, subscribe your favorite part about the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.